Going to NABSHOW, or NAB in Las Vegas, was one of the best decisions I've made to get my career out of stagnation. I was able to connect with representatives at my dream job, WWE. I was able to meet with executives from Sony Pictures, Paramount Pictures, the UFC, Avid Pro Tools, and many other organizations in the broadcast media industry. NABSHOW gave me the opportunity and the platform to start genuine relationships with people, companies, and corporations that I've always wanted to work for or collaborate with, but I just didn't know how to get in contact with them. So for any creators that feels like you can't get ahead, you're posting your content that hasn't taken off yet, you're applying to jobs and you haven't gotten a call back for an interview, listen to my testimony as it may provide some tips on how you can move forward in your journey. I had the opportunity to shoot a music video to a record that I wrote, produced, and performed in front of Tupac Shakur's 1996 BMW. Just leaving my hometown opened me up to new ideas and allowed me to showcase my skill set to these companies for a piece of content that got positive reviews. You never know how taking a step of faith will give you new ideas, new connections that'll help you to accelerate to that destination you so desperately desire to get to. Stay tuned. So the first exhibit I went to at NABSHOW, which was the main reason I wanted to go in the first place, was WWE's presentation of their state-of-the-art studio. During this Q&A session, I was able to mention how I had worked on the ring crew and the stage crew for WWE TV broadcasts, like Raw and SmackDown. I was able to mention how I had participated in WWE's community service initiatives. And I was able to mention how I had interviewed some of their talent on my YouTube channel. Once I mentioned that, it was like, oh, okay, he's serious about this. The question that I asked was, would WWE be bringing back their unique stage designs from the 90s and 2000s where they use stage props, almost kind of like a giant diorama? Or would they continue to use their state-of-the-art LED screens to just make that TV presentation pop? Vice President of the studio answered my question, and after the Q&A, I was able to go up to him, shake his hand, and it felt like a movie how it all came together.
My name is longtime WWE fan. Believe it or not, I was just at SmackDown in Detroit on Fridays. I've actually been blessed with the opportunity to work with the local union in Detroit. So I was able to help build the SmackDown and SummerSlam stage last year. Wow. With the likes of Ring, so it's a childhood dream come true. Say all that to say, that is a criticism, but in the Attitude Era, WWE stages mainly consisted of stage props as opposed to how you guys have LED screens now. For example, the Armageddon stage in 1999 was a giant castle, and one year you had army tanks, and I personally missed the stage prop aspect of it. Are there plans to bring back stage props and merge it with the augmented reality and with the LED screens? Is there any way we can get that back in the mix?
Well, I can't speak for the tour, but talking about virtual production, to me that's one of the fascinating things about virtual productions, blending the line between the digital and the practical, right? I think one of the fascinating things about this technology is when you do have a practical set piece in front of the wall, it really lends to the credibility of what you're shooting, and it kind of plays with the mind of the viewer where you really don't know what's happening. I think a great example of that for me was watching, taking my WWE hat off for a second, and giving credit to where credit's due. The Mandalorian, they did such a good job with that. You watch the show and you're immersed in this world, and as a viewer, I couldn't understand what was going on, and I needed to know more about that technology. To be a part of it right now and to bring that to the WWE and help develop it on our end and push the technology further, I couldn't be excited, but we will be doing that in stage 3.
He gave me his business card. We talked about some of our favorite moments in wrestling, and I also got to take a picture with the WWE title, which was really cool. I actually did it a few times. I got carried away. Oh, one more time. All right, here we go. Yeah. Cody, I'm coming for you. And I was really happy to be there, and it just felt like a dream come true. I had been reaching out on LinkedIn. I had been talking to people backstage while I was working on the events and just couldn't quite find, you know, the connection that I wanted. And I realized there's a time and a place to network, and this definitely was the time and the place. So in this clip, I talked to a rep from Solid State Logic, or SSL, which is home to the world famous SSL mixing consoles. I asked him why Dr. Dre prefers this mixing board over any other mixing board. I asked him about analog versus digital sound systems and a ton of other questions. NABSHOW had many different vendor booths set up from your favorite video production companies and audio production companies and all kinds of companies and broadcast media. So I'm not going to eat up too much time. Let's get into the content. This is VCBEATS live from NAB 2024 in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm here with Tom Knowles, who represents Solid State Logic. We're just going to talk about SSL, as it's one of my favorite brands, and he'll give some info. Tom, how are you enjoying that?
I'm good. How are you doing, Abriam?
I'm doing wonderful. Glad to hear that you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, having a good day.
Okay. So SSL, it has a reputation for having a very powerful analog sound. Yep. And the reason that I kind of learned about or got awareness of SSL, there's a producer named Dr. Dre, and he says says it's his favorite console. He won't mix on anything else. Okay. What is it about the SSL that Dr. Dre loves so much? And I also hear that he says, you know, he don't really like his co-workers mixing in a box. He wants them to touch the knobs. What is it about the SSL that makes people feel that way?
People like an analog console in a music studio. They like the feel of it. They like the sound of it. The kind of added kind of sounds that it gives. I think it's all about that really. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Okay, now for me, I grew up loving early '90s hip hop, the golden era. And I think it was that analog sound that people love so much, that low frequency where you could really feel the bass and things of that nature. So my question is, what are the benefits of an analog console in a digital era? And what is the best way that SSL kind of navigates using both type of techniques?
I mean, we use both because we use technology for each application. So we use analog consoles where it makes sense in music studios, where, again, you talked about like the immediacy of controlling things or the immediacy of the audio. Like you might need to feed like in ears and everything kind of happen immediately and quickly, and it's quicker to use in that respect. But digital gives you a recallability. There's an element of I press a button and it gets back to exactly how it was before, which you're just never going to get with an analog console.
Yes, the millennial in me loves that instant gratification.
You want it very quick, very fast. You just want to press it, but I want it now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Okay, so what's your favorite SSL product?
All of them.
Okay. It starts with an O. I'm having a brain freeze. It's a mixing console. Starts with the O. I can't
Origin?
think. Yes, the Origin.
Yeah.
That's the one I've been eyeing. I think
Okay,
it's about
so
40
Origin.
grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to be working hard for that.
Yeah? You've been working for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I also seen that you guys have a board where you can kind of switch back and forth. I think that would be more of my flavor, where you could switch
ABS and duality? You mean the consoles that you can control the workstation from?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah, like a duality. That gives you two layers. So you've got a layer that can control the analog desk, or you can switch it to the layer that controls the DAW.
Yes, that's what I like. Because I was I sometimes record at Eminem's old studio, Studio 54 in Ferndale, Michigan. And there was an engineer there named Steve Capp who was there in the early days. Yeah. And he showed me this sheet of paper where they used to make their interns go through every knob and draw a line with a pencil.
You don't get that. The intern is the computer in a digital console, so that's what you get out there, the full recallability. But yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, anything we can look forward to coming up from SSL?
Yeah, I mean, we're here at NAB, which is a broadcast show showing our digital consoles. So we've got a new S400, we've got a new desktop fader tile, and we've also launched System T Cloud, so running System T in a cloud environment. So that's all more for our broadcast range. We've also, as you mentioned, a lot of stuff in our music range, and SSL also do live sound consoles.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Tom, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. This is VCBEATS. We out.
So while at NABSHOW, I met a guy named, we'll just call him Tony from San Diego. He was very kind. He showed me features on my camera that I was unaware of, and he introduced me to the global product manager of Sony cameras. When you step out of your comfort zone and go to these kind of networking events, you will meet people that are complete strangers that will support you more than your friends and family ever have. Tony introduced me to the product manager of Sony, and I shook his hand, and the immediate thing that came to mind, I said, hey, I really like you guys' new Sony A7 IV camera. The colors are really nice and the camera quality is really nice. And I showed him a clip from a music video that I shot, and he went, whoa, that looks really good. And he wasn't saying it just to be kind or nice or supportive. I could tell he really did like the image quality and the scenery that I shot in that scene. So that felt really good. I felt really connected to be able to show somebody how their product helped me in my journey and how I was using their product to its maximum capabilities. It's just stuff like that at NABSHOW that NABSHOW makes possible. And I was very happy for that moment. So in this next clip, I got to interview a rep from Avid, which makes Pro Tools, which is the software everybody in the world who makes music uses. Also got to play with my favorite mixing console, the S4 and the S6. They also had the S1. And I asked them if they could make a mixing console that's on a consumer level, which would be under $10,000, but still had that big size that has that big studio feel. I also got to talk to a rep from Avid, which handles artist relations, where artists like myself can connect with the company to do collaborations. So stepping out, talking to different vendors, talking to different people, you never know what kind of information or context you'll come across. Check out the content.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Nice to meet you, Jeff.
You too.
This is my dream console,
Cool.
man. Like,
yeah.
sometimes I just be up 2, 3 in the morning looking at it in my shopping cart,
Yeah.
waiting for the day I get $100,000.
There you go, yeah.
I just really like the look. Okay, so here's how I got there. Okay, I was really a fan of the C24.
Okay,
You remember that board?
sure.
But I like the C24 because it had that big studio feel to it.
Yeah.
But it was consumer level, so it was only like in between $3,000 and $10,000.
Okay, sure.
So one day I hope Avid creates another board like that that has that big feel that's in that consumer price
Sure,
range.
makes sense.
So I was just looking like, man, boards similar, to the C24, and that's when I found out about the S. Is this the S6 or the S4? Or?
S6.
This the S6,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, S6 and S4 have a pretty similar vibe.
Yeah.
S4 maxes out at 24 faders.
Okay.
And if you look at it, it's kind of got an angled look. This is more flat, but you can optionally also rake this, so you can actually have that angle as well. But yeah, so this would be the flagship. This is kind of one configuration of that, 32 faders.
Okay. Wow, does Avid have plans to produce a consumer board like that? Because I know a lot of companies, they're either trying to make stuff really compact, like here, you can fit this in your pocket,
Sure.
or it's just that massive studio look. But
Yeah, I mean, we have a family. I mean, obviously S1 is over there and Avid Control, and people start with Avid Control, which is the free iPad app. And then you can pair the S1 with the Avid Control on the iPad, and then you could add more S1s, and then you can add a dock and kind of grow that. We did kind of discontinue S3.
okay.
So, from there, we go up to S4 and S6. But, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to have other options.
Yeah, because I would like to have some, just for the aesthetic. I want
Sure.
my studio to feel like you in a big studio, even
Okay.
though it's my
Yeah.
personal space where
Makes
I
sense.
work. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I didn't even know y'all was gonna have this set up here. As soon as I said it, my eyes lit up. As soon as I saw it,
Cool.
man.
Yeah,
It's my
absolutely.
favorite board.
It's an amazing surface that's super customizable and has unmatched visual feedback.
All right, this is my friend Jim from Nyla Lighting. He's helping me get some lighting for this shot. We just vlogging, showing y'all the NAB conference from Vegas. You said you actually edited film when it was on reel?
I'm an old guy, and I've been in the business a very long time before starting a lighting company. So I've gotten to work on all sorts of different projects, but back in the day I have physically cut film for work and, you know, reel-to-reel tape. Kind of done it all in my time frame, but, you know, my career, I've worked over 500 TV commercials, you know, visual effects projects, low-budget movies, high-budget stuff. You know,
Oh, wow.
Gotten yelled at by great people like James Cameron and others in my day.
Isn't that always a blast?
If you want to buy some alcohol, I'll tell you some stories, but we'll save that for another time.
Hey, there it is. So this is your company?
Yeah,
That you started?
Neil is my company, yeah.
Oh, congratulations, man. This is very professional, high-grade stuff. This ain't...
This is our 15th year exhibiting at NAB.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
So we've been shipping product for 17, 18 years now, and it's been a company for over 20.
Where are you based out of?
We're based in Los Angeles.
But we can order anywhere online.
Indeed. So you can find all of our stuff at B&H or go to nila.com, Nila.com, and you can see all our stuff.
All right, cool. You heard it here live from the NAB conference.
So while I was at NABSHOW in Las Vegas, one of my biggest inspirations for music kept coming to mind. And that artist is Tupac Shakur. Las Vegas, Nevada was the city where Tupac spent his last moments on earth. He went to a Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand Casino, which coincidentally was the casino I was staying at, and I didn't even know it. And I even was in the lobby where he got into an altercation with some people he didn't get along with that would later cost him his life. And I didn't know that I was in that lobby. I also remember seeing an episode, I think on I don't know if it was Pawn Stars, where they had found the 1996 BMW Tupac Shakur was driving that night. He was assassinated, and he actually got shot in that car. It was on display and for sale in Las Vegas. What up? We had Celebrity Cars in Las Vegas. About to go see my man's car, Tupac car. Here we go. I wonder who all these cars belong to. Hello? Listening to a song by Tupac called Checkout Time, produced by Johnny J. And at the last 20 seconds of the song, there's a beautiful melody song by a songstress over the melody of the beat with no drums and no hi-hats or percussion. It was just the bass and the synthesizer, and I really loved how it sounded, and I kept rewinding it over and over and over. And I said, maybe I should sample this record one day, but I never did it. But when I got to Vegas, something was like, okay, now's the time to sample this record.
Testing. Yeah, I like that a lot better. My last night in Vegas, it was kind of outrageous. No mask on, even though COVID is still contagious. Took the trip, though I couldn't afford to pay it, and met with my dream job. Yes, God is simply amazing.
Before I went to sleep, I just started trying to figure out how to play the sample over. And when I woke up the next morning, I had a nice riff going. I was going to add some drums, but I said, no, I'm not going to add no drums. I'm going to keep it just how it kind of sounded at the end of Tupac's original song. And I titled the song Last Night in Vegas, and I recorded it right there in my hotel room. I couldn't detail it out as much as I wanted to because I had to get back to the NABSHOW convention since it was the last day. But I was able to record the song as I brought my equipment with me. I wrote a verse about my last night in Vegas and Tupac's last night in Vegas, even though it was like 24, 30 years apart.
It's my last night in Vegas, but this ain't my last time in Vegas.
My last night in Vegas, it was kinda outrageous. No mask on, even though COVID is still contagious. Took the trip, though I couldn't afford to pay it, and met with my dream job. Yes, God is simply amazing. At the hotel, but I ain't into gambling. The same one where Pac had beat up Orlando Anderson. By Flamingo, they picked him up in the ambulance. I saw his BMW, they cleaned up the damages. So I really thought it was a great song, and when I recorded it, I was just listening to it on my headphones in the Uber on my way to the convention. I said I should shoot a music video to this before I leave. So I ended up calling the owner of Tupac's car. They said I can come by and get a few pictures of it, shot some video of it. I recorded my verse in front of the BMW. And when I got back home to Detroit, I just went to a professional studio and shot some more performance scenes, blended it all together, and it came out great. Now, I was glad I was able to do this because this was an opportunity to show the companies that I'm asking to work with, hey, I can film, edit, put together scenes, storyboard, scout locations, make a beat, record and audio engineer my own track, piece it all together and put it out the same day. When you step outside your comfort zone and go to new places, new ideas, expand your horizons, you'll get new ideas. You'll reignite that creative, your creative gears will start turning again. You'll be motivated. I felt free as I was recording that song in my hotel room. As when I was just trying to record at home, I wasn't really feeling it because I didn't like my environment. I didn't like my living situation. I was staying in a one bedroom. I just wasn't feeling it. But even though the hotel is like the same as a one bedroom, I've just felt free and I had the freedom to create. Shakur was a revolutionary. He had many ideas, including establishing codes for gang members to not inflict harm on the community and to create programs where kids and single mothers could get resources from the community. Tupac had a voice. He made a lot of socially conscious music, bringing awareness to situations that was happening in the ghetto or urban communities that were being undermined and neglected. So he used his music to show some of the atrocities that were happening in underprivileged communities to raise awareness so we can get help and solutions. And that's why Tupac inspired me. He said he might not change the world, but he's going to definitely spark the brain of the person who will change the world. And I believe that I'm one of them seeds. So it was just my way of paying homage, paying tribute. When I first walked up to Tupac's car, at first I was smiling because I was like, all right, I get to see a part of history. But as soon as I actually got up to the car, my heart dropped and I felt very traumatized. It felt like I was looking at a person's casket. And I don't know, I guess I just had the wrong approach or the wrong thought process, but literally, sometimes the media big people up and over dramatize things, but this was a 25-year-old young man who had lost his life at an early age, and he had everything going for him. He was in movies, he was one of the top-selling recording artists. He sold 6 million copies of his new album. Weeks within get signed to a new. So it was just very traumatizing to see that, and I was kind of heartbroken a little bit that he's not here to enjoy the fruits of his labor. And but it was cool to pay homage to him, and I hope y'all like the song. It's my last night in Vegas, but this ain't my last time in Vegas. I leave Wednesday, 3 p.m., but I'll be back, Rip Pot. My last night in Vegas, it was kinda outrageous. No mask on, even though COVID is still contagious. Took the trip, though I couldn't afford to pay it, and met with my dream job. Yes, God is simply amazing. At the hotel, but I ain't into gambling. The same one where Pac had beat up Orlando Anderson. On Flamingo, they picked him up in the ambulance. I saw his BMW, they cleaned up the damages. Was indicted, but Pac got excited. Bruce Sheldon was beat up by Mike Tyson. They took his death row chain and started fighting. Is Pac still alive or he died from gang violence? Conspiracies made it complicated. Suge Knight probation was violated. To not testify, Baby Lane was compensated. And that was Pac last night in Vegas.